Alright, welcome back everyone. Scarland here, bringing you another Neverwinter video. And today's video topic is going to be the announcement slash apology from Thomas Foss, aka the Mimic King. Now, he posted this on the official forums on May the 3rd. It's currently May the 4th. I'm filming this. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to go live for you guys. But this is the first time that I can remember that Cryptic and or Thomas Foss or whomever has actually released a statement on the official forums being a apology, basically. Now, if you haven't seen this or you haven't read this, we're going to go through this post. We're going to read it out loud, and then I'm going to give my comments on it. Now, like I said, I can't recall a time where Cryptic Studios has ever admitted any sort of fault whatsoever as a company. Now, this is Thomas Foss himself posting this on the forums. You know, he's an important guy around the office. So this surprises me to a degree, and I kind of want to say that this is definitely some sort of damage control. I think that Cryptic is finally seeing their numbers dwindle from the veteran player base or even the casual player base. There's a lot of people leaving the game over Mod 16. You cannot argue that fact whatsoever. Now, it's always been my theory that Cryptic thinks this is okay because they are going to replenish their player base with brand new players. However, I've already been on record stating that I would be very surprised if Cryptic can replenish the amount that they are losing. They're not going to be bringing as many new players into their game as the ones that are leaving. It's literally a mass exodus at this point, from all because of Mod 16. Now, keep in mind that Mod 16, of course, was all Mr. Thomas Foss's idea. This is his baby. They've been working on this for a very significant amount of time, and we're going to go through this and read this here. Greetings, adventurers. Thomas Foss, aka the Mimic King, here to talk with you about Neverwinter's latest launch, Undermountain. With Undermountain, our core goals were to raise the level cap, provide exciting new adventures, and clean up some long-standing class balance issues. Just in this first sentence alone, all they had to do was do what he said in this first sentence, right? But what we got was Mod 16, and it was a complete disaster because they nerfed everything into the ground. All of the work, all of the time and or money that you spent on your character has now been nerfed into the ground due to the changes in Mod 16. If they would have just done what they said in this first sentence, I think everything would have been fine. If they would have raised the level cap to level 80, provided exciting new adventures, aka the new Mod 16 campaign and the new dungeon, and then if they just cleaned up the classes, right? The class balance was one of the major issues, and what they did was the easy way out. They nerfed everything into the ground, made it so a 12-year-old can play the game. They took out any sort of customization that Neverwinter had. And like I said, they basically took everything away from everyone. Everything that you have strived to do for the past 5 or 6 years has now been basically nerfed into the ground. So that's the problem that the community has. The community as a whole wanted a level cap increase. We wanted exciting new adventures. Now, when the community says we wanted exciting new adventures, we just want more dungeons per mod release, Tommy. It's not hard to comprehend, right? Players want more than one dungeon per mod release. Simple as that. So what did the company hear? Well, the company heard, well, we're going to give you a new dungeon, but we're going to nerf everything at the same time, thus making the dungeon seem harder, right? And the same thing for all the old content. So now all that old content in the company's eyes seems like it's new, fresh content because it's so hard to complete due to the scaling issues. But at the same time, you're still giving us all the same shitty rewards. So basically, Cryptic Studios took the easy way out here. They nerfed everything into the ground and made it so a player has to take 3 times the amount of time to do an old dungeon for the same pathetic rewards, thus being a challenge in the company's eyes, but in the player's eyes, it's a complete joke. Let's move on. At the same time, we hoped our improvements would pave the way for creating new classes and content in the future. So they are already anticipating, they want to make new classes, right? And now with the class balancing system that they have in place, I guess they can introduce new classes. Although I don't see what the problem was. They could have done class balancing a completely different direction from the way that they did it and would still be able to introduce new classes into the game. We also wanted a way for players to progress faster through existing campaigns while also giving us new ways to provide campaign rewards. With so many impactful changes being made, we felt it was important to invite players to participate in a closed beta test and then in the open beta preview server. You came in like gangbusters and gave us fantastic feedback. Well, then why didn't you listen to it? You invited X amount of players, a select few players got invited to the closed beta months in advance upon release. These players gave you loads of feedback and you ignored it. You continued down a path that nobody wanted. The community did not want Mod 16, not the way that you did it. And I'm strictly speaking to Mr. Foss, because this was all his idea. Whether it was on the forums or on the Reddit, the team here really appreciated the dialogue. I would like to give a huge shout out to Rainer, whose spreadsheets were a great resource and window into the player's perspective. Well, first of all, Rainer is amazing. We all know this. Rainer is a huge part of the community. His data and spreadsheets they go way above and beyond that any player should do to the community for free, right? Everybody should be thanking Rainer for the amount of work and dedication that he himself does for free. Now, Rainer does have a Patreon. I would suggest you donate some money to Rainer. If you still play Neverwinter and you use Rainer's stuff, Rainer should be rewarded for that. The amount of work that he does is just astronomical. There is no question about that. Cryptic Studios does not deserve a player like Rainer. Simple as that. Rainer could go play any other MMO, such as Terra. Excuse me. Such as Terra. And in-mass entertainment would bend over heels for Rainer, for a player like Rainer, to do that much for the community. The same thing in Black Desert Online. Pearl Abyss would bend over for a player like Rainer. Cryptic Studios, what do they do for Rainer? Nothing. Because of the feedback we received directly from our community, we were able to address hundreds of bugs and assorted feedback. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you, Thomas Foss. Thank you. Hundreds of bugs, they claimed, right? Because of the feedback, hundreds of bugs were addressed already. Well, what about the hundreds upon hundreds more that are still there because you released a broken module, as you always do? Now let's get down to the apology part. Now, I want you to read into this very carefully because Thomas Foss, he's an old guy. Thomas Foss has been around the block numerous times. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to manipulate an audience. This is not really an apology at all. But we are disappointed that we didn't get to all the reported issues. We received great feedback from players like Balls, who told us back in March that Tomb of the Nine Gods was broken, but we did not fully address it. For that, we are sorry, and the Neverwinter team is working hard to review all the issues. We're even more disappointed in our response to you since the launch. Talking about the lack of communication here, it's pretty clear we could have done a much better job of really listening. No kidding. There was a lot of excitement at Cryptic about the new content and updates we had made. Yeah, but yet the community was very distraught. And we were quite hopeful you too would enjoy them. Well, sorry to disappoint you, Thomas, but no, your changes are dog shit. We fully understand now that some pretty critical bugs made it impossible for you just to do that. Now, of course, he's talking about the scaling issues because when Mod 16 launched on PC, it was a completely broken game. The only thing you can do in Mod 16 on PC was the new content. You could not go back to any old content because the scaling was so broke that you would just get slaughtered. It was never our intention to make our most invested and important players feel alienated, but that's just what we did. Well, let's be honest, you've been alienating us for the past 5 years. Alright? You have no partner program, you have nothing, you do nothing for the community, you do nothing for your content creators, you do nothing for your streamers, you do nothing for your YouTubers, you literally give back nothing to the community that supports you. Period. Now this is why I wanted to say, read this very carefully, because you're going to notice that yes, it's an apology, but no, it's not. He is not saying, we are sorry that you guys are not enjoying Mod 16. He's saying, we're sorry that we didn't fix all these bugs in time. See, that's the problem. Thomas and Cryptic still think Mod 16 is, what the game needed and how the game is going to progress from here on out. What you essentially did is put the wheels in motion to kill your game. That is what you have done. Out of the community, I would say a rough estimation is that 75% of your overall player base hates Mod 16 and doesn't want Mod 16. The other 25% are loosely okay with Mod 16, but I will definitely say a majority of your player base dislikes Mod 16 and everything that was included in Mod 16. Neverwinter is as dear to my heart as it is to yours, and I don't like having a broken game. Okay, that is Thomas Foss admitting, openly admitting that the game is broken. Or even the perception of a broken game. This is Thomas Foss, lead designer, lead guy, lead developer on Neverwinter, admitting that the game is broken. How does that look as a company aspect? Most of us are just used to us because you've been giving us broken mods since Mod 6. Every mod you release, something is broke. And then it has just gotten progressively worse over the years. We clearly missed some broken critters in leveling. Talking about scaling again, no kidding. We have been working to fix these as well as leveling and combat balance. Over the last week, the team has been triaging the issues being reported, fixing as many of them as we can, and discussing ways to better incorporate your feedback to make the game more enjoyable. Really now. Really. You're taking our feedback to make the game more enjoyable. Well, then you should have never launched Mod 16 in the first place. Examples of the steps, and this is just some of the scaling stuff, and then the Paladin's base dexterity. These are all issues that should never made it into the live game. This is a company that has been working on Mod 16 for over a year. Maybe even 2 years. They have been working on Mod 16 for a very significant amount of time. And you were telling me that you had core functions core game functions that didn't properly work, but you still launched the mod. Now that's just business 101 at its finest. Cryptic, as I've always said, has deadlines to meet. They have to answer to Perfect World. They have to answer to Wizards of the Coast. They have to answer to Hasbro. It's all about profit margins. It's all about quarterly profits, etc., etc. This stuff is never going to change. Mod 16 being broken, yeah, we expected that because we already expect nothing less from your company. Mod 17 is not going to be any different. Mod 17, which they're probably already working on and they're probably already finishing up by this time, is already going to have a plethora of bugs in it. And finally, here in the closing, we're not done and we're still listening. Well, I really hope you are, because you've already made so many players leave your game, and I highly doubt that they're going to ever come back. We are working on additional updates, and we will roll those out as quickly as possible, and are communicating out the changes as we do, aka your weak-ass patch notes. Half the patch notes don't even list everything that you've done in the patch. As we get ready for our console release of Undermountain, we are striving to make sure the concerns of our players have been addressed in all versions of the game. Oh, really? How many times has a mod been released on PC that still has several problems, and then 3 to 4 months down the road finally make it to console, only yet to either have the same amount of broken mechanics, or still broken mechanics that have never even been fixed on PC? This, again, happens every module update, Mr. Foss. Every single one. We still have stuff broken from Mod 10. Okay? Storm King's Thunder. Alright? We still have broken mechanics in Fangbreaker Island. Come on, dude. For us, this is an ongoing conversation where we all work towards making Neverwinter the best game possible. Okay. If you wanted to make Neverwinter the best game possible, you would listen to people like me. You would listen to people like Rainer. You would listen to people like Northside, aka Unforgiven. You would listen to your community, people that have been playing MMOs for 30 years. We kind of know what we're doing. We kind of know what we're saying. We're not just some Timmy. We're not just some casual player that wants to whine about a bunch of nonsense. We have real issues. We give you real feedback. I alone have given so much feedback on the Warlock throughout the past 5 years, and it's all been fell on deaf ears. The Warlock is abysmal, and it continues to be abysmal. You've turned the Warlock into a healing class. Like, come on, dude. If you wanted Neverwinter to be the best game possible, then start listening. Alright? Stop doing things that you think the community want. Or as a direct quote from Julia, the artist's vision, right? Thomas Foss is the artist, he's the architect, this is all of his changes coming to life. Well, Thomas, let me tell you something. If you want to be remembered in the MMO community as being a lead designer of bringing something to life that people loved and enjoyed, and in 20 years down the road, people are going to talk about Neverwinter, about how awesome it was, you're doing it wrong, bud. You're doing it wrong. You're actually leaving yourself a bad legacy. I can already imagine 20 years from now, 25 years down the road, people are going to go, oh yeah, remember Neverwinter? Yeah, you know what? The first couple years of Neverwinter were actually it was a pretty solid game, but then it went downhill drastically and the company imploded on itself. Yeah, Thomas Foss, whatever happened to that guy? Oh, really? Nothing? Really? Yeah, exactly. And what scares me the most is that Cryptic is making Magic the Gathering, which eventually is going to be coming out. And I'm sure Thomas is going to have his dirty little hands somehow involved in that game as well. But seriously, Thomas, I'm not trying to be an asshole toward you. I'm trying to have an open discussion and an open message to you. Do you really want your legacy as a content creator, as a lead designer on a game, to be tarnished because of your vision that you wanted to push on a community that nobody wants? Is that what you want? I mean, if it is, then fine. But like I said, 25 years down the road from now, 30 years down the road, when people are talking about old MMOs back in the day, and people are going to reflect, they're going to say, yeah, I remember Neverwinter. I remember that Dungeons and Dragons game. It was pretty fun from, mods 1 through 8. And then it drastically just went downhill after that. That's what's going to happen. That's the path you're taking right now. And if you're okay with that, then fine. There's nothing we can do about that, but Mod 16 is an absolute disgrace. I'm sorry, sir. I am very sorry, sir. If you wanted to take that architectural design and implement that into another game, if you would have taken Mod 16 and made it into Neverwinter 2, or had a different working title, it would have been fine. Everything would have been fine. If you would have left Neverwinter the way it was, and just updated it the way the community wanted with, class balancing, new content, giving us more dungeons per mod, everything would have been fine. You wouldn't have lost your player base. You wouldn't have looked like an ass clown. You wouldn't have to be making messages on your official forums basically apologizing when in reality you're not actually apologizing at all. Just saying. I don't even know where I left off. Oh yeah, about the console release. Yeah, I can't wait until Mod 16 comes on console and we have all of the same broken stuff that's already on PC. And console doesn't get this for another, 3 or 4 months, if we're lucky. And all this stuff will still be broken by the time it reaches to console. We don't think we'll make everything alright by just fixing the known issues. We're going to go the extra mile for everything you've done for us. Oh yeah? Tell me more, Thomas. He's apparently going to have a stream too. Yeah, I missed it here. I'm sorry. To that effect, he's going to have a Q&A stream during May 7th, a community live stream, and he's going to answer people's questions. It's going to be literally a Q&A. Thomas is holding his own Q&A. I'm sure it's going to be a complete disaster. I'm sure I'll be making a video on that as well, so look forward to that. And like I said, we don't think that we'll be able to fix everything, no kidding. But he's hoping to get the known issues sorted out. And then he closes. This is the line that he closes on. So we're going to go the extra mile for everything you've done for us. Tune in on the stream on Tuesday and I'll tell you all about it. So what is he going to do for the community? Is he actually going to do something for the content creators? Are they going to announce their new partnership program? Are they going to announce them having loot drops within the Twitch platform? What are you actually going to do for us, Thomas? And this is where the damage control comes into this, right? This post is damage control. It makes it appear to be an apology, which it actually isn't. But this is damage control. You have the lead designer making an official post on the official message boards of the game. You know your game's in trouble. Alright? The mass exodus of people leaving Neverwinter is astronomical. This really worries me, and I'm interested to see what Mr. Foss actually says on the stream. So I wanted to put this video out there. It was kind of harsh, but trust me, I could have been a lot more harsh if I really wanted to. Like I said, Thomas, I don't know what you were thinking when you were theory crafting Mod 16 and all these changes that you brought into to Neverwinter. You would have been better off taking that architectural design and even implementing that system into Magic the Gathering, which you probably are, right? Let's just say that Neverwinter is probably the beta test for Magic the Gathering at this point. That's all I got for you guys today. Just Thomas Foss versus the community. Link will be in the description for this. There's actually like 6 pages of comments. If you guys want to read through the comments about everyone being displeased about Mod 16, there might be 1 or 2 posts in this entire 6 pages that are like, oh yay, Mod 16, yay, so excited. That's the casual little Timmy that has no idea what the hell he's talking about. Most of this 6 pages, if you want to go through it all and read the comments, are hilarious. It's everyone basically saying how displeased they are with Mod 16. That's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave a comment below and discuss the topic at hand.